Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. For all those United fans who thought there was something missing last weekend, Manchester United is back and we are playing Crystal Palace. We have Annimesh Thakkar here from the Football Fundits to do a very special preview of the game. And it is all of us are really excited. We're pumped up. The new season's underway. But Annie, is it really a new season? Because we haven't had a preseason. It's just gotten over. What are your feelings about that? We really haven't had a preseason or had a chance to gauge this team going in.
So I don't blame anybody in the club top or anybody in the management or the coaches that there is no preseason. The players needed the rest. Okay, we were in the Europa League. Say whatever you want. There's another extra 2-3 weeks where the players didn't get a break. Other players went off. Spurs included, right? They uh, they just got their time to themselves. You don't want this squad coming in burnt out in meaningless friendlies. I don't think honestly it do too much in terms of getting an idea about how your side is best placed. If there were 3 or 4 additions like Chelsea does, I'd want my team to have friendlies and let them blood in, right? Honestly, who's coming? Donny van de Beek? There's no new addition here, right? It's not like you want to get your new signings with the ground running, nothing like that. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. Coming to this season, am I excited? No. And it's obvious why I'm not excited. Do I expect the worst? Kind of. But I am not expecting the worst where people are saying 8, 9, 10, honestly, because this squad is good. We saw that they have a run they can go on this run. What happens is they can't go beyond that run, so they can't do more than 18 games. So that gives you half the season where the squad can do well. The other half is where you worry about, can they get those results? Can they just about nick top 4? So to sum that up, that's where I think we'll end up. Coming to this game, should win. Still should win.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, we're playing Palace. But Vishesh, we played Aston Villa. We played one game last Saturday. It was kind of Premier League team, Premier League kickoff time almost. Do we read anything into that, or that was just Ole giving the players a run out onto the pitch?
I think that was just Ole giving the players a run out. He gave Van de Beek the full 90 minutes to settle in with the squad. I think Van de Beek put in a very impressive performance. But adding to that, there were a lot of players that went a notch above what they were. I guess that is because of the rest they had. The likes of McTominay looked very fresh. James was making some good passes in. And I've just realized if he sees someone, he messes up his pass. But if he just goes like a horse and blindly passes it with blindfolds, he gets in the perfect pass, which is really, really good. So our second squad got the game time that was needed. But definitely, I don't see majority of them starting except for the likes of Rashford and Shaw.
Right. I kind of agree with you in that sense. Also, now that you've mentioned Dan James, he also won man of the match for Wales in the international break. I don't know if that is also much to go by because even there were much depleted squads and things like that. But a few of our players, like even Bruno, had a very good run out in during the international break. So I think that was nice. But Priyan, do you think, again, like I asked Annie, do you think the squad has had...
You mentioned Scott. I mentioned Scott. Scott played centre back for Scotland. So I'm wondering if Ole uses Scott as a Matic role this season, and that's why we haven't got a CDM.
Okay, yeah, that's actually interesting. I did not see the Scotland game, so I'm not sure of that. But that's actually an interesting line of thought. But Priyan, coming to you, what do you think of? Do you think the players have had enough rest? Because Annie said that they have it in them to go on for 18 games or so. But technically, you can think of this as a 4-week international break and the season's back. So do you think the rest is enough going into this Palace game?
I think the rest is enough. I think by the end of the Europa League game, they were sort of all dead. Rashford had that injury, so from the start I was saying that he shouldn't have even been played in the Europa League. He should have been given an off since then, but they played, and I think 4 weeks is enough to sort of re-energize and come back to it. But going into the season, I'm not very confident. I feel like we are only 1 or 2 injuries away from a very bad season because midfield we got Donny van de Beek, but attack I don't see any of the 3 getting replaced. I don't see anyone stepping up and sort of playing in the position and performing as well as the front 3. Same in defense, I think. I mean, they're all highly rated, Tuan Zebe and all of them, but I don't know how they perform if they're asked to step up and play in the first team.
I think Priyan, you cover that. I think the other thing I think with a 4-week break is sort of you sort of pick up from where you left off. Now I'm hoping we pick up from where we left off in terms of Premier League form, not in terms of Europa League form, because our Premier League form was actually quite good. But obviously this team, I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping that consistency that Bruno had gotten into the team, that continues. Having said that, Crystal Palace pulled out a shock sort of defeat. They pulled out a shock win against Southampton, and they won that game with 20% possession. So is that something that's going to be the issue?
I won't be surprised if they set up similarly against United. You have to remember that they only have 4 fit defenders. The way I look at it is very simple. They're anyway going to set up defend and Zaha on the counter. That would have been the plan even if they were playing a relatively fitter squad. But the way I can see this working out for United is that, look, it's just 4 foot defenders. You still pretty much have a fit squad coming in. There are no injury niggles that I'm worried about apart from Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is a miss. But you have to again understand that in February, before Pogba was fit, this side started the unbeaten run without him. So I am not totally, oh my God, we can't maybe win this game. We should win this game. Should be easy to win this game. I'm not expecting a goal rush. If we see a goal rush, anything beyond 3 goals, I'll be surprised. But I see this game going in our favor easily. I don't see us conceding either. What I would only be wary about is who starts as starts on the right. I know that Greenwood has had his issues with the England camp. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start and they give Dan James again a run over there. But I personally think that Dan James is just much better on the left. And unfortunately, Rashford is also better on the left, not on the right. So that's again something I see being a problem for this game, because United fans will be like, if Dan James has a bad game, oh my God, he can't play. And I'm like, no, he plays better on the left though, right? So for his sake, I hope if he starts, he's on the left. But I'm not that worried about this. I'm not about the season. For this game, should be fine. And McTominay, I think for me, like Vishesh said, Idley was always going to be picked to be a Matic replacement. McTominay was supposed to be more of a CDM. Yeah. What happened was when Fred got form again and Pogba got fit, McTominay came on in those games as slightly an advanced midfielder. Not really his calling. He's better off sitting in the back and letting players do what they want to do.
So, Annie, now that you've touched up a little bit on the team, why don't you also tell us what your predicted 11 is looking like for this team, for this game?
I want Bailly to start firstly so that you get to see a fit Bailly in this squad, and then you can see what actually happens here. Unfortunately, Lindelof is just the better centre back. I know there's a split fan base about Lindelof and Bailly. I don't think one's better than the other. I think Bailly is slightly better only because he's better at playing the ball. Lindelof is not. Lindelof is more of the conservative defender. That being said, he's consistent, relatively injury-free. Good partnership with Maguire last year is what we saw. So I think he will start with those two in the back, although I want Bailly and Maguire. So Lindelof, Maguire, Van Bissaka, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is fighting fit. Let him start. Matic, Van de Beek, Bruno, Martial up top, Rashford on the left. I want Greenwood. I hope he gives Greenwood a chance, but again, I won't be surprised if he goes for Lingard or Dan James.
And
you've conveniently left out the most controversial position.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I was letting the suspense build up. No, I think DDG by default. DDG, no question about it.
Yeah.
Unless he has a couple of big clangers in the first 5 or 10 games, then Henderson comes in, or else DDG should start easily. Should not be a debate.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a pretty solid lineup. With that lineup, if you don't beat Crystal Palace, I think we have more serious questions to answer than Jadon Sancho not coming in.
Then the pressure should be on Ole. Yeah. Let's not forget, Ole has shown that he can win with this side. If this side has a couple of bad games and doesn't get the results in, manager has to adapt, right? A little bit. I won't blame him in the end of the season because he's not been back, but to get something out of this side.
Yeah, for sure. Vishesh, before I ask you what your predicted lineup is going to look like, I don't think that Crystal Palace have it in them to press us like a Southampton did, or even a Copenhagen. They pressed us quite well. Sevilla pressed us well. So it's going to be that low block kind of game. So do you see the likes of Donny van de Beek coming in, making it much easier for us to break that low block? Or is it yet going to be as hard as it was and we're going to take an eternity to break it?
As Annie mentioned that they are going to play with Zaha on the counter and everyone else sitting back. So I'm not worried about us playing from the back and building up and getting pressurized. So that's good. But we're shooting this before the press conference. And last time that Ole spoke, I think he said that Paul Pogba playing could happen because he does get back fit. It's still not confirmed. So because he's gone for trainings and he's been regular this week, I think Van de Beek won't start, and I'll go with the same lineup that Annie had, but Pogba instead of Van de Beek, and again Lindelof instead of Bailly. I don't see Bailly starting. What would be a surprise is Mengi has been promoted to the first 11. I mean, to the starting team. So just imagine if he begins the game. But yeah, otherwise I just see those two changes.
Right. I think that's interesting. I kind of agree with you that we will be allowed to play from the back. I will reserve my opinion on Bailly and Lindelof till Priyan has said what he thinks to expect from Crystal Palace. Do you think Will Zaha and Jordan Ayew will be a threat? Also, remember Palace did play a Carabao Cup game in midweek, which they lost. And out of all people, Milivojevic missed the penalty that secured the loss. But Priyan, do you think that will have an impact? And what do you expect? Do you think Zaha will be a real threat? They've also got Ezri Eze, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. So do you think these skilled players will put Maguire and Lindelof under some pressure because they're not the fastest players in the world?
So yeah, I mean, as you said it, Maguire is the Titanic. He turns. He's just too slow. He's not sharp. So that's always a problem. It's not something that's going to change. I mean, as long as Maguire is a center back, that's always going to be a problem if you have quick and pacey wingers and attackers. So that's always going to be a problem. Zaha is always going to be a threat. As far as the lineup goes, I think I'm going to agree with both of them, but I don't think Pogba is going to start. I don't think he's. I think they'll play Van de Beek instead of him. And centre back again, I think I as much as I love Bailly, I think he plays. I don't know if it's risky or what. It's just too much on the edge every time. He has those flashes where he'll either just something or the other he doesn't. It's very difficult to watch him play like that. You're very nervous all the time. So I'd rather watch Lindelof play with Maguire.
I think Priyan, you hit the nail on the head. Eric Bailly is a player. If he was a striker, I'd be very comfortable having him because a striker can be inconsistent, not a defender. I can't have my defender with every second tackle he makes is going to be a red card threat. He's basically our walking Serge Aurier. That is my problem with him. He's a walking red card, and he really petrifies me because he has it in him. I think he's a great defender. He takes those risks. He plays on the margin, but I mean, in my opinion, Lindelof and Bailly, none of them are good enough to be a Manchester United centre-back for 38 or 40 games a season. But, of course, since we're talking about this predicted lineup, I think David De Gea gets into goal. I don't think there is any United fan in their right mind who will say that Dean Henderson is going to get it above him. If you are that, then you started watching football yesterday. Aaron Wan-Bissaka plays on the right with, I think, Lindelof and Maguire in the middle, with Shaw on the left. I hope Shaw is fully fit. I don't want him to play 2 games and get injured again. Matic has to be our pivot. We don't have an option there. I know McTominay growing into that role, but I don't think so. With Pogba, I'm not sure. I'm not going to comment. I think if he's fit, he plays for Shaw. But I think Van de Beek will be slowly gotten into the team. But if he's not fit, then of course Van de Beek has been brought in for that reason. So then of course he plays. And then of course Bruno, Rashford, Martial and Mason Greenwood go out there and score a hat trick for your sake and for the Sun headline. I think it's high time that the English media learns their lesson. But anyway, moving on further on this game, any player of the match for you? Whom are you looking out for? Who do you think is going to be the key player for us?
Key player for this game again should be Tony Martial. He's been one of the players who has played for France. He's been very fit. He's trained well. He's been someone since the break started after the Europa loss. He seems to be in peak condition. My expectations are all on him because Rashford was injured in England duty. Greenwood had his madness. Bruno for me, second behind Martial, but for me it's all about Martial. And I'm not going to talk about Maguire, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof / Bailly and David De Gea. All, it's like, old United side. All the eyes up front of the number 9. We don't have a number 7, unfortunately. I would have said that. He who must not be named for 100 million doesn't seem to be around the corner. So all attention on the number 9.
He who must not be named. Or you can talk about our number 21 and Dan James. But Priyan, player of the match for you.
I think it's high time Rashford steps up now. He's been after I think since the lockdown has ended and football restarted, he didn't have that good of a period, as good as he was before lockdown started. And I think he'll be back to form. I think it should be Rashford.
Right. And Vishesh, player of the match and scoreline.
I'm going with our new number 11, Mason Greenwood. He has a point to prove. He's got the jersey. He's living up with it when it comes to the women. It's time to live up to it when it comes to the goals. So hopefully Mason Greenwood to get the man of the match. And I think we get a clean sheet in this one, 3-0. Tony to score 1, Mason Greenwood to score 2.
Okay. Priyan, man of the scoreline.
I think 3-0 again. Martial, Rashford, and hopefully Van de Beek.
Oof. And Annimesh, the final verdict. Actually, I'll say the last scoreline. So the one before the final.
I'll be consistent with how we ended last season. 3-0, depending on which centre back. 3-1.
So 3-1 if Lindelof plays.
Oh, Bailly plays.
Oh, if Bailly plays. In my opinion, it's going to be 2-0. I don't think we'll score 3 goals. And I think Bruno Fernandes with 1 and Marcus Rashford with 1, and both set up by Tony Martial.
But will Bruno be a penalty? Penalties don't count. Always remember that.
I saw this wonderful tweet today by whom I forgot. Professional players should stop scoring penalties because some kid on Twitter thinks it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So I don't care how he scores till he puts it in the back of the net. A goal is a goal. And if you think it's so easy, I'd want to see Leo Messi's penalties on when it counts. But anyway, I think, guys, we all think that United are going to win. Easy victory, 3-0, 2-0, clean sheet. Palace, last time Southampton, they pulled off an upset, but it's not going to happen against United. Yes, we're not very excited about the season. I personally am quite excited. I'm always excited. But let's see what happens. And player of the match, it's going to be one of our front three. But then again, we haven't mentioned Bruno to be the player of the match. And for all you know, it might be him. So thanks, Annie, for coming on. Do check out the Football Fundits. They're doing some great work. And the links are in the description below. And also follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our channel. Manchester United is back. The season is up and running. Let's see where we finish. Thanks for watching.